That's it.
What? Wait, what? Oh my god.
Very first podcast.
All right.
Hey guys, this is our first podcast. This is our very first episode. My name is Frank.
My name is Anne.
And I'm Edward.
I'm pretty sure people who are watching probably want to know a little bit of our background. So the reason why I kind of wanted a podcast, because it's very different from like what I did in the past, was that I kind of found us three, we kind of have a unique little story. Like we all, I think within the pandemic, all started our first little side hustles, an entrepreneur-like thing, which is very out of our norm, I'd say. But I kind of felt like this conversation that we can have would be super beneficial for some of the viewers that are watching. So that's why I gathered you guys. Why don't you do a little background information about like why you got started with your things?
So I'm not like these two where I started my YouTube career, but I did start my own sushi bake business. So I do do a bit of that besides my 9 to 5, and I just pretty much introduce a bunch of new sushi bake, and I run the whole business with my partner Katrina, and we run it entirely through Instagram or Facebook.
My name's Edward, and I'm actually also a YouTuber like Frank. And you can check me out at Edward Lin. All you have to do is search that up on YouTube. And pretty much what I do is just talk about stocks and crypto. And I actually started my YouTube channel about 2 to 3 years ago, actually, with a friend of mine. But actually we stopped, and we actually did a lot of like K-pop reactions. But we found out that we couldn't monetize, so we kind of just stopped that. But I also have a 9 to 5 as well, and I do YouTube on the side.
I think it's fair to say that we all have like different side hustles sort of thing. I know like Ed, you and me did YouTube.
Yeah.
And you did your bake sushi bake thing. But I think that the interesting part is that it's very different from us. Like from what I do versus what you do. Yeah, we'll start with Anne, and she'll explain, like, can you tell us like why you got started with your sushi bake?
So originally, I think I, like most people our age, fell into that kind of like, what am I doing with my life? Like, is there more to the 9 to 5? Like, how do I do things that I'm very passionate about? And I am passionate about my job too. But it's just finding hobbies outside of my job. And then, you know, the whole millennial mentality of like the side hustle. You want to have something that you can make money off of too. So my friend and I were just brainstorming ideas, and we were first thinking about for sure food, because one of my dreams is to own a food truck. So I was like, you know what, let's do something related to food. A lot of people are really open now to ordering food online. There's a lot of like local businesses now. Why don't we start with that? And then we saw a lot of different companies that were selling cookies or like pastries, but not so much sushi bake. And actually, to be honest, prior to that, I didn't even know what sushi bake was. So our first meeting, she baked me sushi, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. It tastes nothing like a dynamite roll or like sashimi. Like, it's all cooked. It's kind of like baked on top of layers. So you have like rice, you have seaweed, fish, Kewpie mayo, like Japanese mayo, very creamy, spicy mayo. So we bake it all, and we introduced a few items since, but we all really just started because we wanted to just hang out and like do something for fun together and see what kind of came out of it. We weren't really expecting for it to pop off, and we just really wanted to break even initially.
You guys made a profit, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you hear that? I have a question actually. So why sushi bake, right, versus all the other options that are out there? And did you ever thought of like expanding your kind of menu? Ever?
Yeah. So with sushi bake, we just thought it would be. So it was different. It's different, and we were seeing like a lot of trends about it where people weren't really sure what it is, but they were willing to try.
True.
So because I tried it and I was like, oh, okay, this could be something. Like, let's just stick to an idea and like grow from it. So from there, we started making our logo. We started like printing out stickers. We like had little boxes, did research on that. And honestly, it was just fun to make. We saw a lot of potential in terms of expanding to different ingredients or flavors, but we weren't really thinking that far initially. We were kind of like, let's just do this and see eventually what else we want to add on, if it even goes that far.
Correct.
Wait, when did you get started again?
I want to say it was actually September 2020. Yeah, I think it was during pandemic, but at that point, summer had just passed, and the pandemic was actually like, we were seeing numbers go down.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, let's start doing this. And then after we went into like full blown lockdown.
Yeah.
So I'll explain that later, but we actually started cooking separately. Originally we started like cooking together, and my partner's Katrina. So I met her like at Ryerson as well.
I'm not sure you want to dive into it, but like, what point was it like profitable for like Sushi Bake?
Yeah, so for us, we literally, like, it was simple, like super simple. We're like, what do we need to make one tray? Rice, seaweed, crab, salmon, I don't know, a protein of some sort, and then like Japanese mayo, spicy mayo. What's the cost for everything? Yeah. We calculated the costs, then divided whatever like the quantity was needed for a recipe, and then we did the math. So the math of that versus what we wanted to charge people. Then we just did simple math like, okay, what are we selling it for? What's the cost? What's the profit? How many do we have to sell in order to break even? And I think the number was like 30 something worth of Sushi Bake trays. So we're like, okay, we're each going to invest $500 with no expectation to make any money.
Oh, really?
Let's just do it for fun. Yeah, $500.
That's so good, actually.
Because sushi is pretty expensive to make. Yeah, it's not like
$500 initial cost.
Yeah, and it's all in ingredients. It's not like any machinery or anything that we needed special to make the Sushi Bake. It's more just the ingredients and the material, like trays, bags, stickers.
And you sold more than 30, right?
And the first 30 were mostly friends and family. So we were like, come on, guys, like support. And we had a lot of support, so we broke even.
I kind of feel like you have to do that. Like, even like when I started my YouTube, like, it's almost like your friends and family are like the ones. It's almost like that's the quickest way to like start it up initially, because that's what I did with my channel. Like, it was probably that's one of the scariest thing, and you know what I'm talking about, Ed. Like, when you first start your YouTube channel, like, I think the first thing that comes to your mind, or just any entrepreneur like activity, it's probably just putting yourself out there initially is probably one of the scariest part. When you guys agree, kind of thing, right? Like putting yourself out first, where you're just like, oh shoot, because like there's been times where like I think now I don't really care, but at the beginning, I was always like, should I post it on my Instagram, my Facebook? Because I thought that would be kind of like weird sort of thing, right? But then, and now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, it's almost like, because I now have somewhat momentum, it's like socially acceptable. No, definitely at the beginning, I was like, weird, right?
Like,
so did you guys, like, when you first started your YouTube career, did you tell people you were doing it, or you kind of just went head in and started? Like,
well, actually, that's what I want to ask you.
For me, it was me and my friend at first, and we kind of just brainstormed like on the spot, but we didn't really tell anyone until the day we uploaded our very first video, and then we posted also, like, we posted all on social media, but like, we didn't know at first, like, that's actually not good for the YouTube algorithm, because some people might just click on it and like it and then just do it, because there's a retention time that people have to watch, like, from the beginning to the end, and if they don't watch it until the end, right, then YouTube's not gonna recommend that video. But I would say, like, you should still do it, because you need that traction no matter what, even if you're just beginning. So that's why I do agree with Frank. But then I feel like down the road, like, when you, like for you, for example, you don't need, I don't think you even need to put it on social media anymore, because most of your fans are actually on YouTube, you know what I'm trying to say? And whenever I see your video, I just click it, I watch it from beginning to the end, and I like it, and I comment. So I mean, like,
you hit that bell notification bell.
Because like when you understand, because when you understand the YouTube algorithm, like, you're gonna start doing things for other YouTubers. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So I mean, I do agree with your point.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Like, for the most part now, I think at the very beginning when I had like less than 100 subs, probably like your friends and family kind of thing. But I also kind of like to think with the algorithm thing is that, like, it's the most interaction you get in your video in like the first minute sort of thing. So I think also just part of me just wants to like share it with my friends kind of thing. True. I recently uploaded my apartment tour today, right? That you guys saw.
That was my first time seeing an in-depth apartment tour. I think like even coming over, he was just like, "Yep, this is it." And like no detail, no like, hey, this is the room, this is my living room. Like I watched that video and I got like so much out of it. I was like, wow, like inside scope of like Frank's house right now.
You're saying you never seen an apartment tour?
No, but I'm talking about yours. Like when I came over, like none of us like got that full like detail, so it's kind of cool to see you like film it and walk through it and talk through it.
Do you miss anything about your old apartment versus your new apartment?
Like definitely my Calgary apartment was probably like more modern.
Yeah.
I think I touched it on the video, like more modern. Like I think in terms of Calgary standards, like that apartment that I was living in would be like top tier, right? Yeah. Versus here, like I'm not gonna tell people where I live exactly, but that area is like fairly well off, right? And like the building itself is like 15 years old, but I think the layout of it is like definitely like I prefer that layout over my other one in Calgary. I say that for sure.
Would you have one a little bit bigger, like because you know I saw your video and you didn't really have room for like a sofa.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like you can always want more space in your living space in your house, right? Especially like pandemic, everyone's like, oh, I want more space. Like when you want more space in this apartment, kind of thing, right? But like. For me, like I realized that when I moved from Calgary back over to Toronto, I kind of accepted that like realistically I'm going to be living in a smaller space. I was going to be paying a lot more, but I think the trade-off with that is that I got to go out more. Like I think over the last year, like I think this month or so, I've probably done more in this month. I don't think I told you guys, but I've probably done more in this month than like the whole year in Calgary. You guys laugh like it's sad.
It's because your friends are here.
Yeah. I don't know if the camera got it, but she teared up. She's like,
no, it was a fake. It was a fake tear.
Okay, we're gonna keep it on the podcast.
Question for both of you: did you ever think your side hustle would kind of replace your 9-to-5 or your main job?
I think the ultimate dream would be that, but I think also like I kind of recognize reality is that, like for it to be profitable where it matches like your current salary, especially like Toronto standards, it's like it's tough to do. Like you guys know what it is, right?
Don't you need like brand deals and like
like
sponsorships?
YouTube AdSense is not enough. Like I'm gonna straight up say that. Like I think every 100 views I only get $1. How about you, Anne? Do you ever think your sushi bake would ever?
Let's touch on that. Like what part when you were now profitable? Okay, you said earlier you started with $500 going to Sushi Bake, and then it was just for fun sort of thing. At what point were you guys like profitable where you're like, okay, we can actually do this and actually make some passive income? I think that's like a big thing that a lot of people would not want to learn about, how to make passive income. So at what point you started, and then how long did it take?
To be honest with you, if we were to count for our wage, like the manual labor, I don't think we'd be profitable at all. Like, and that's the honest truth, right?
Like we started kind of thing.
Yeah, we started this doing it for fun. We still continue it doing it for fun. I don't think it will. I want it to become eventually something full time, but I don't know if that will be from Sushi Bake. I feel like Sushi Bake has given me the experience and the practice with like learning how to like buy supplies, materials, like ordering different things, making sure there's like enough ingredients at all times, that the price of products don't go up, and you like keep an eye on that, right? So after some time, I don't know, like right now where our business is at is it's pretty relaxed. We haven't introduced any new products recently. It's been very chill. We don't get as many orders on a weekly basis as when we first started a year and a half ago. And it's just the truth, right? But from the experience, I've learned so much that I think to the next venture that I'm looking forward to starting, I'll definitely be applying that experience that I've learned and take that on. So I don't know if it'll be Sushi Bake in
Yeah.
the future, but I hope it's still along the lines something to do with food.
I was gonna say let's now switch over kind of like to yours.
Yeah.
And I don't think we talked about like you have an interesting like we know you started with YouTube, but for anyone that's watching, you do stock and crypto. You started like kind of like that Bram Steffen kind of vibe of doing stock and crypto. But like, why'd you?
Yeah.
Because even in university, I didn't think you were into that stuff. Like realistically,
Yeah.
I thought you were like more into like other things, right? But
Yeah.
but when I saw your YouTube channel, I was just like, wait, like I didn't know you had this much interest in it. So like, why did you get into stocks and crypto?
Yeah, definitely. I didn't know anything about stocks until my very first job, which was back in 2017 actually.
At the bank, right? Or
No, not at the bank. It was at Vertical Scope, so downtown. It's for this media company. My starting salary was about $32,000.
Okay.
I was just a technical support specialist or a community specialist for that company. And obviously, right, like there wasn't much to do most of the days, a lot of replying to stuff, but most of the time listening to podcasts and also other YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And I actually came across some stock videos. And I think the algorithm understood why, because I was actually like figuring out like how am I gonna save up for a house? Like it's impossible. If my
not in Toronto market.
Exactly. If my salary is $30K, how am I gonna actually own like an apartment or a condo? So just thinking about that, like easily, if you're just gonna do $30K times let's say 40, right? That's not gonna be enough for a house or a condo. So I'm just like wondering how people actually did it.
Yeah.
And that's when I kind of started my stock journey. Right. I started watching Jeremy Financial Education by Jeremy, and that's when I started my stock career. I went like into a deep rabbit hole. On how stocks works, and that's how I found out like most people that are rich or like in the top 1%.
Yeah.
They invest their money into stocks. They make money. Make the money, right? It's easy, and then I'm like, okay, now I understand why, like, know how money really works.
Yeah.
So, I have a question. So, you're not obviously at that job anymore.
Yeah.
You've since moved on.
Yeah.
And was starting your whole stocks interest a motivator for you to eventually leave that role and just be like, screw this, like, I can find something better? I don't know.
So, actually, that company laid off 2 times. The first time I was there, it was like a couple months in, and they already laid off like a whole entire department.
Oh, job security was probably like one of the
and that kind of shocked me, right? And I was like so scared because this is my first job.
Yeah, I remember talking to you about like our discussion because one of the things we talked about was like we started side hustles on some levels, or I think you guys all agree where it's like stop. Like, we kind of understood that the corporate job is just not the most secure thing in someone, right? It's not guaranteed. And I think we kind of wanted to put our future in our own hands.
Yeah, it gave me a whole entire perspective of, like, nothing's safe, right? Even if it's, like, a bank job, government job, it doesn't matter. Like, let's say one day, like, those organizations,
the pandemic happens.
Yeah, something bad happens. Like, it's like TDC workers, right? They got laid off too during the pandemic, right? And people thought that was a secure job, but it wasn't.
That's true. And they're like unionized as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, and then they actually laid off 2 times, that company. And the second time, I thought I was gone. Like, I thought I was like done. I was like, all right, send me home. I was like, but it was so shocking because the person right beside me got
laid off.
Yeah.
Oh, right beside you.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Dude, so my whole entire perspective changed during that day.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, I have to get my money together, understand how money works.
Oh,
and that's why I went.
That was your Kodak moment.
Yeah, seriously. And I'm actually blessed that happened, because if that didn't happen, I would still think that a 30K or 40K job would be okay, but it's not. And that's why I want to make my money make me money.
Yeah.
That's why I got into it. And that's why I made my YouTube channel mostly about stocks and crypto.
Yeah.
right? Because I want to educate other people that don't understand how economic works, and I think that's a huge factor right now, which is why I'm gonna say this: like, majority of my money is in Bitcoin right now.
Yeah.
I would say 99% of my wealth right now is in
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin. Yeah, and that's a whole entire story. But I'm not gonna dive too deep into that today. Like, if you want to learn more, just go into my channel and look at those videos. I talk about it every day. And it's mostly about the money printer, right? Like, governments printing money, inflating our it makes the citizens lose their purchasing power, meaning the money that we're working for right now is going downhill, right?
Yeah.
It's like we're not it just shocks me because we put so much time and effort, right, into an asset that depreciates in value. We should be getting something that's the total opposite, right?
Yeah.
Which is Bitcoin.
So your moment when your person beside you got laid off was like kind of like your trigger moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, I mean, you guys already know my story, but people who are watching, I kind of shared it in like some of my other videos that I made in the past.
Yeah.
But I think it was when basically my team. So I used to work for a telecom company, and essentially they laid people off. Like, they were going through like a merger and acquisition, and then basically I was one of the few unfortunate ones that was gonna get laid off, and then that's when my whole YouTube, moving to Calgary, like, you guys already know this, but for those who are watching, that's where it all started. Where I was like, oh, like, job security, it's not as secure. Like, they'll tell you like, oh, it's a permanent position, but like, is it really permanent, kind of thing? It's almost like I have a better shot. Like, I feel like working at like some part-time like job might be even more permanent, so to say, like the reality of it. And then that's why I started with like my whole YouTube channel, I'd say.
And like, can you tell them more a bit about how, like, what happened after you found out you were laid off? Because I feel like that really was what motivated you to really kick that off. Like, you have to give some background. So.
Yeah, I'd say, like, I always knew I wanted to do YouTube in the past. Like, I say, it was always in the back of my memory, even like elementary school. Just wanted to do YouTube. Like, I remember just like looking back at like some of the like original YouTubers, right? You guys know some of them, right? And then I was like, I just don't think I really had the confidence in me, quite honestly. I was just like, oh, like, what are people going to think about me? It's kind of weird. Okay, so I have a question that will probably be good for the viewers. Did you experience any like weird, like, you probably had some fear, or did you even have any fear, like when you posted your whole Instagram of Sushi Bake and all that stuff? Was there any backlash? Like, I know, I'm pretty sure on the YouTube aspect, people kind of assume, like, I already know that like putting yourself on the camera is very scary. But like, did you have anything on your end by chance of like when you started, or like any negative experience?
I want to say that for the most part, friends and family were super supportive.
Right.
I think my parents were a bit confused, like, why do you have to make
You should
sushi
have been a
bake?
doctor.
Like,
my
my partner for the business, her parents were actually like, are you struggling right now? Like, why are you doing this? Like, financially, why do you need this? And we're like, no, we're doing it for fun. Like, what don't you understand? And my dad, like,
for fun?
After like a month, he would still ask me, are you still like baking sushi? Why don't you introduce like chow mein or like fried rice onto the menu? And I'm like, dude, this is sushi bake. Like, we're sticking to a theme here.
He wants you to have like run a full restaurant, probably. Like,
like, he's just very confused why I'm still making sushi bake, and I still get those questions up to this day from my father. Like, that literally used to see me bake sushi in his kitchen.
No, he wants you to diversify, that's all.
Asking the same questions. So, I say that's the worst thing so far. If it's from, like, outside people or customers, like, there will always be feedback, but for the most part, it's all been really good feedback. But if there's any bad feedback, we never take it to heart. We take it as good criticism, and we just try to improve our product that way. But honestly, all that matters is what friends and family think.
My parents were like my dad understood how YouTube works and how AdSense works, so he didn't care.
He knew what AdSense
Yeah,
was?
he knows
That's a
those
cool
stuff.
dad.
Yeah, because
Dad, if you're watching.
they know. Even my mom knows, but like my mom will ask like how much you make. I'll be like, oh, we made like 100. It's like, you only made 100? That's so little. I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, yo, chill. Like this is. I'm just starting. It's like your camera's like 500 and you only made 100. I'm like, it is what it is.
Well,
man. Like,
how much have you made total since
Not a lot.
being monetized, right?
Mm.
So like, you have to have 1,000 subscribers and
Yeah.
4,000 watch hours.
Yeah.
When did you reach it? And like, if you're comfortable sharing, I can
yeah,
totally
yeah,
go,
obviously.
but,
Okay.
like, when were you like how much have you made total? And I'm happy to share my amount as well.
You're gonna make way more because I haven't posted in a while and I don't get as much viewers, but I only made like about 200 so far.
200.
That from
Okay.
from since I got monetized, which was about a year and a half ago.
That's pretty good though. $200.
Yeah.
Like,
But I reached 1,000 subs and 4,000 hours like very early on, like 6 months into my YouTube career with my friend. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
How about you?
about what?
Your stats.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I say okay. I got the what's it called? YouTube Partner Program,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
In July of 2021, and then I think I gave myself like kind of like a 1 year benchmark. I was like, or a 1 year goal when I started. So I think I posted my first video of just me road tripping, right? And then I posted that in November.
Yeah.
And then I kind of just told myself, I'm like, okay, 1 year from now, I want to have 1,000 subs. I just want to be part of a partner program. I didn't really have much of an expectation. I just wanted to just create content, like for fun sort of thing. And then I think I got like pretty good feedback at the start. But I've made, since July, I made about, I think I was showing it to myself like $450 since getting monetized. Like, I think it's also just, I kind of feel during the pandemic, a lot of people are just moving in general. So I think I kind of hit a niche that was important at the time, I guess you want to call it, where like a lot of people are moving, a lot of people are in my situation, because there's so many people for some reason had also interest moving to Calgary. So then I think I definitely like had like a niche of people coming from that era. But yeah, 450 since July, so it was about July, August, September, like 4 months, about close to $500.
And if AdSense ever passed, let's say, your salary, would you ever quit your job?
But like it's tough to say because like one, for it to happen, it would be a lot of work, and then secondly, it's like, is it sustainable, right? Because I think a lot of content creators in general, there's kind of like that, like, can it last? How long will it last? Kind of thing. And I think like, I don't know, I watched a lot of YouTubers that are like, you almost like want to pump as much content as you can because you don't know how long. It's almost being like a real estate person where you're like, you sold a house, but like you don't know when that next paycheck is coming in. So you just go with what you know, or just continue creating more and more and more.
Yeah, because right now I feel like we're on like an island, like our 9 to 5, but you have to jump to another island because like maybe that island has more gold or more,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So making that jump is hard. So that's why a lot of people still do. That's why a lot of people do side hustles, right? But eventually, I feel like when your side hustle makes a lot of money, you're gonna have a big dilemma. And I feel like I'm trying to get you guys thinking long term, right? You know what I'm saying, right? Because how about that day does come? Like, what are you gonna do, right? So
I watch your YouTube videos how they pass the stock income.
Yeah, I mean, having dividend stocks is another great way of making passive income. But the problem with dividend stocks, like, you need millions of dollars to replace your salary, which is why not a lot of people look at dividend stocks. I think a lot of people want growth stocks, or like crypto, where you can 5x, 10x your money, right? Which is way better than dividend stocks. So yeah, I think a lot of people have to at least invest their money into stocks because I feel like if you're just gonna do a salary-based job, it's gonna be really tough. Uh,
Cost
to
of living
yeah,
goes up every
exactly.
year,
Oh, it's
and your
excessive.
salary is not going up as
Yeah.
much as inflation.
it just
That's the
sucks.
truth.
Yeah, it's the truth.
It's so sad. I
It
know.
it sucks. Like you like for like a teacher for example, doing their full time job, right? Like you have to be a part time investor just to survive in this type of you know macro environment, which kind of shocks me. Like everyone has to be a part time investor just to kind of survive in Toronto or even other big cities like New York, LA. Like those ones are huge, and if you're not investing, I feel like yeah, I like it's hard truth, but I feel like it's not gonna work out in the future.
Yeah,
Right.
you gotta start
It's
small.
a hard truth, but that's why a lot of people are doing side hustles, right? And I think the hustle culture, especially on social media, has been like ramping up.
Let's
Yeah.
segue into what you want to talk about.
Advice
Advice.
Advice for anyone that's getting started.
for any side hustle or
so
any
why don't
small
we-
business.
Okay. Anyone want to start first?
Me?
Go. Okay.
Okay. I think there's two, which is just go into it and starting it because you'll never know, and I think you have to make mistakes in order to kind of learn and be comfortable with starting a side hustle or business. Because if you don't make mistakes, like you're never gonna learn, which is very important. And second is to not give a crap about what other people think.
Yeah.
I think those two are the most important, in my opinion, because that's what got me started. Because I'm timid and I'm shy, right? And when back in the day, like during uni, I would say not as confident,
Yeah.
right? And I will always care about what other people think. And I think that's probably one of the biggest, flaw or like disadvantage that I had, and I wanted to fix that.
Getting in.
And getting into YouTube actually helped.
I can see your growth, honestly. Like
Yeah.
you've improved in the way you just speak,
Yeah,
the way you
seriously.
carry yourself.
Seriously.
You're much more confident.
Yeah,
I
you're just
agree.
more outspoken.
Seriously.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I-
I changed a lot, low key. Like I don't say it, but I can feel it. But
Yeah. I don't think I even told you, but yeah, like what Anne was saying. I think
Yeah.
like in university.
Yeah.
I thought you were like a little more shy kind of thing,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
even like within the last ever since you started YouTube, and even myself probably,
Mhm.
I started like I think I kind of saw your channel first. I told you this. I was like, this is kind of weird, right? And then I was like,
Yeah.
I think when I boiled it down further, I was like, I'm like,
Frank was the last
Kudos.
person, basically, that I thought would ever start a YouTube channel.
Me?
I agree.
Yeah,
oh,
because we
I-
all
you
thought
I
it was
would be
weird.
last, or Ed would be last?
No, like you. Because Ed, at the time in uni, had already started one. And we all thought it was weird. Like, what? YouTube? Like, being
Oh, yeah.
on YouTube?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, I just never, like, imagined you starting one. And then when you started one, I was like, whoa, like, everyone's starting one. Like, that's pretty awesome.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, at the time. In
Oh.
uni, right? Like, I didn't think any of us would be on YouTube or doing
Oh,
anything
okay.
YouTube related.
I,
I think one thing that I see from like each of you is that you started yours because you have experience on what you're talking about.
mhm.
So the move to Calgary, the move back to Toronto. For Ed, it's something that you're already interested
Yeah.
in, so crypto and
Yeah.
stocks.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just something that I like to have fun with, and
That's
you know.
a good
So I think that's
That's a good
important. Interests, experience, something that you enjoy doing.
Yeah, yeah.
That's really important, and an
Yes.
easy way to find a side hustle that you're more likely to stick to and that you're going to enjoy doing.
one. Like
Fun, experience, or
like-
interest.
yeah,
a
like
side
kinda-
hustle that
yeah.
offers one of those things at
like being
least.
passionate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's a huge one too.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I guess I would. Yeah, I'd agree for everything you guys said. Makes
Mhm,
sense.
mhm.
Those are all good ones to get started. I think. Yeah, definitely what you said earlier. Not caring about other people's opinions, especially on YouTube, because I think people are so quick to see like. I know a few other people who are getting started with their YouTube channel, and I kind of can tell when you first get started, you're just like so eager to get the views and like You know, get a lot of like positive feedback and all that stuff. But like, I think the first video you're probably gonna, I think you have to really be excited for it, especially on YouTube. You kind of just like have to understand that like you would do it for free, right? For like the longest time, I was doing it for free, making videos I think it started off with like my first video took me like a month, and then it was like every 3 weeks, and then I remember knowing that you made 2 videos a week, and I was like, wait, what the heck? Like, how'd you make 2 videos a week, right? So then I was like, okay, I think I can pump one thing. So I think it's just, yeah, what you guys said, falling in love with the process would be the one, and then also just not caring that, you know, as long as like you like it and you genuinely like it, like there can't be any, what's the word saying? Like there can't be any like bad thoughts about it, like or like very like ego, like I want it for the views, I want it for prestige. Like it has to be very like a genuine place. Otherwise, you might experience burnout, sort of a thing. On a weekly basis, how many hours do you put into your YouTube and your sushi bake?
Before, a lot more. We used to meet like twice a week.
4 hours only?
No. Before it was a lot more.
Oh, okay.
We used to meet twice a week for maybe an hour each time and discuss like what our plans were, if we wanted any collaborations with like Instagram foodies or like do any giveaways. We would brainstorm about that. Any promotions. Yeah.
I should do that.
We did that a lot. And then now it's been pretty slow and relaxed. We've been focusing on other things important like family or just other priorities right now. So we haven't been meeting, but we spend a couple of hours a week if there's orders like cooking, obviously.
Okay.
And then just grocery shopping or doing Costco runs to get stuff for sushi bake.
Right.
We'll do that as well. So last question, guys. I just
Alright.
wanted to know, what skills have your side hustle brought you? Or what skills have you learned doing your side hustle?
Go ahead. I'll let you go first.
I think first one, definitely my communication skills. Like before, I would have had to write a script for my videos before I shoot it, but recently, like my newer videos, I've been just talking on the spot, and I felt like, you know, it actually really helped with day to day. Like when I speak to my manager, like I feel a lot more confident, more smooth. Like I still have to think before I speak, but I don't take as long as I used to. But yeah, I think that's the best one in terms of what YouTube did to me. Yeah, that's the biggest one.
I think this really helped me during, because when I was, like, for people who are watching, like when you're job interviewing, like you have to be in that mind frame of talking sort of thing. And I think because I was like out of work for like 10 months when I was out in Calgary, like I didn't have that. So I think I fell with like YouTube to have kind of like let me continue. It's almost like a muscle memory with communication.
Yeah.
So I think when I was doing interviews, I was kind of like more comfortable because I kind of told myself like if I was so comfortable in front of a camera, it's like it's not as weird talking to another person that's on the other side versus like I think it's very weird. Like you can attest to this, like Ed, when you're first talking to a camera for the first time, like even right now, like if I'm looking at a camera by myself, I'm like, oh, that's weird. But like after a while, you get more familiar with it, and then your day-to-day interaction, it's almost like, oh, like I don't have to talk to myself. You're just like, oh, I'm actually talking to a real person, so it's like that much easier to talk in general. So I would say, I wish I could say something else, but like, yeah, communication, I say.
I think like when I first started, I stuttered a lot. Like a lot of words, I would like mess up.
You say, yeah.
Yeah, I would mess up, and then I would have to say it again, and then like, I was like, oh my god, my pronunciation sucks. I was like, and then I think that's how I kind of like got used to it. I got better at it, and now I can just speak on the spot. So
I'd say for me, it was just learning to work with someone else. So like owning the business together.
That's a good one.
Like decision making.
I should have thought something different.
That's a good one because we don't work with another person.
Yeah, we don't.
I hope you though. But I mean,
I messaged you and you helped.
we don't have a co-owner. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, so
you
it's
used to,
like
kind of.
yeah. That's true.
initially we like tried to do everything together, and we
Yeah.
like it was a lot of fun. But when the whole pandemic situation got worse, we
Yeah.
had to like split up and bake from our own places.
We're trying to think of how to end this video.
fuck.
We can't really think of it. We're kind of time constrained because we're trying to keep. Anne has a dog that we're trying to keep quiet. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for
Cool.
watching, everyone, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Bye.
Boom.
I don't know how that's gonna end, but sure.